Approve.
Actually,
there's a couple of deals here that I was looking at.
just you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just sitting there. She's like, because you.
No, actually not at all.
Like this one,
That's where I was like,
requested salary, that is the salary that's already there, where you've written off to the side there.
Oh, yeah, so the 1514 is not, that's the salary for FY '21. The 1793 is FY '22.
But this is a promotion from that salary to this other one.
Yes.
Okay, that's what.
So, I don't know that the promotion calculation was done based on the new amount. You're gonna have a salary approval form that's gonna come in on 10/1 with the 1793. The number I wrote, is that the number?
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't know that they did the promotion calculation based on the 1793. Probably did it on the
Who
old
is that?
It's on the juvenile detention promotion.
We got a couple of them
Supervisor.
like that, and so that's, they both had stuff written off to the
Step
side.
0, right?
Yeah, they put it at minimum.
Yeah.
But it's going from a,
And this
I
one's the
believe
same
it's a
way.
step 1, grade 6. Next year it's going to an 8. Because we got a juvenile detention, because they got the step promotions,
Oh,
or the grade promotions, I mean.
I'm not really trying to.
So
No.
I can do the math real quick.
No.
You want me to verify
That's
it
the new
though?
chief deputy.
Okay.
He likes to spend a lot of money.
we'll need to keep the budget.
yeah, absolutely.
That's one that we don't have a lot of say on, but
Yeah, that's political appointment.
boy, I just have some concerns.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same concern, Ernie, when I heard that the other day.
If we do that.
Exactly what you're thinking.
Based on the FY '22 salary? Or you think-
It'll be a discussion.
you need to do it
Yeah.
based on the 22 salary?
Or kind of wait and see type of thing.
It's still the amendment, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't even close.
A motion on the salary approval forms.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve salary approval forms as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
A restrictive spending request. Alcohol licenses. She makes me smile every day. Tell her thank you.
I did Tuesday, but I'll tell her again today.
That's
Tell
so
her
much
you can't-
better.
You can't, she doesn't understand how happy.
That's so much
she
better
makes
than
me.
signing so many. All right. With that being said, well, yeah, better have a motion.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the, what was it, we did the beer and wine, restricted spending request on the beer, wine, and liquor licenses as presented.
We have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda is Miss Shanda Crystal.
Right on.
I am gonna run down and get on the phone for a minute. I have a Board of Health meeting,
Okay.
so.
Good luck with that.
Yes, have good fun.
Stick up for us.
Oh, yeah.
Just say no.
Yeah.
Just say no on everything. All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Janda, Purchasing and Economic Analyst.
No.
See how easy that is? He's already practiced.
I did have, so we have invited Dave Martinez and Carrie Hong here. Both of them have crazy varying schedules. I wondered if you wanted to delay, move to a different topic to see if they were able to join us. We had, oh,
I don't think Carrie will be here. Carrie Hong.
okay, he did said he had a 9:30. He was hoping by about 10. Is last I heard, but whether or not that actually
When did you
happened-
talk with him last?
Monday.
No, he won't be here.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So I just didn't know if we wanted to wait and see
Do we-
if Dave was able to join us or
do we have anything new I saw that there is an invite for a meeting on Friday that I'm been invited to that for another discussion item.
Right?
But I mean, so where we're at, why don't we
So, okay.
recap and let's bring everybody up to
Okay,
speed
so-
where we're at.
Okay, so there are a couple different areas that we need to discuss, and one of them is past history stuff. We do have, so Tony Budge gave his notice, right, that he wanted to end his contract and he was willing to complete his service through the end of June. Then there were some cases that were so near completion that the judge asked that he would continue. His conversation to me that he was doing that pro bono because the judge had asked him to do so. We did pay him. There was not communication with the auditing office to tell him that that contract was done, and so he did get paid in full for July's work. So the commission does need to decide, one, if we are leaving that, right? There was work completed. I don't know to what extent, right, but there was work completed, if we're just going to leave that or if we're going to request those funds be returned. So that is one that I need a decision on. The second one is then when we had Dan Taylor's contract start on July the 22nd, his office is now communicating to us that they had actually worked a week prior to that. That is where I'm hoping to have Carrie and Dave confirm or deny whether or not cases were released or information was given or tasks were asked to be completed prior to that start of that date. Because we do need, right, an actual official when you were officially working for us, and then discussion of a partial payment for July. They have been paid in full for August, but there's that partial part of July that I do need a decision on of how we're going to pay. I did touch base with Christy briefly. If the choice is to leave Budge and have him paid through July, and if we're doing a partial for Dan's crew, then there's additional funds that need to be addressed, and I asked Christy if potentially she could just find a couple places that maybe we could, if that was the desire, that we would have the option. These are things that I would love to get cleaned up in fiscal year 21.
You need to get it cleaned up in 21 because you won't have money.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means it'll have to be paid by
Yes.
Thursday, or turned in by next Thursday.
Well, why don't we move it to the end of the discussion, see if Dave gets here, and
Okay.
then
While
we
we're
can-
on that topic,
and then we can
though,
have Ernie back as well. by
Yes.
then.
if we could, Kelly called me while we were sitting in the hallway, and we ended up paying Budge
That's
for
the-
September,
for
who we do
September.
not have a contract with. We've got to work on how we can get recurrings cleaned up a little bit between when a contract is canceled and a new one is put in, so that we don't have that problem on the recurring sheets. And so anyways, Dan Taylor is owed for September. So I was wondering if we could get this invoice signed by you guys, and we'll do him a manual check so that he's made whole. Kelly said she talked to Shanda. Shanda called Budge to see, or will call. To see if we can get that payment back. And I can call him when I get downstairs and see if we can get that
Let's
back.
hold on to this until Ernie gets back, so
I
all
was
three
just-
of us are up there.
Okay.
Yeah,
But contractually, he's owed.
yes. Well, and
It's just an error on our side, and
the biggest thing too, to go back, even with the contracts, is even our office to know who's still working for the county, who is contractually obligated or is not here. And
And
that's one of the biggest problems too that we have is
well,
that we don't know, and then it turns into a fireball because, well, we haven't had another contract, and why haven't you guys went and got another attorney hired to do this job? And so that's something we need to work on, and just, hey, this person has said that they're no longer going to do it, or their contract has expired. We either need to renegotiate the contract or we need to have another attorney in.
well, that was the problem we had in July, is we did recurrings, and I think it was like July 22nd or 23rd is when we sent out the check. Well, one of them had canceled as of like the 22nd, but nobody told us it was even in the process to be canceled, and we mailed the check.
Yeah.
Here's my question on that is, as an attorney, if I say, okay, I'm not accepting any more cases from you in June, but I have holdover work from June that I have to do in July and possibly August due to the court system, should we not still pay them for that?
I think that was one of the conversations we
That's-
had when this evolved,
I don't
was,
think we ever really
is
answered that.
you
did we?
accepted that case, and
Well,
you're gonna finish it out?
part of
You've
the,
been paid for it, so.
part of the legal
Right.
discussion was
But-
where would finishing it out be?
Right,
Right, because I'm thinking, well, finishing it out, yeah, well, let's just wait till Ernie gets
Yeah.
here. 'cause-
yeah,
Because it's a, yeah,
yeah.
Under current practice, right, you just end and you pass everything you have on to the next attorney. That's how Budge got handed a whole bunch of stuff, right, and then
Right.
that was the intent.
and the
to go-
justices are trying to get it to where there's a specific, some kind of cutoff
Yeah.
of either you're through
Sentencing
pre-trial or
or-
sentence,
yeah,
or something where it's not just a, hey, we,
In the middle of everything, here you go.
here you go, and we
Yes.
just handed this off. Because that's the problem that we're running into, is understanding the contracts of where they're at, because they set notification that they're gonna leave on the 22nd, and we don't even find out till the end of the month, because by the time it goes through all the notification process.
And that is something, right, then as Dan took over the contract, right, he got 20 some odd cases, right, put on his lap. So that is definitely part of the further discussion to have of how we move forward with it. And also to help in that communication, I was hoping that the commission would land this project somewhere. If you want it with procurement, that's wonderful, right? I'd be happy to continue on and get this cleaned up and move forward. There was additional discussion if we wanted it with the chief of staff. At the time, right, Scott had left, Braden hadn't been here yet, so that wasn't an option at the time. But really discussing where that lands, so then when we get notified that a contract is ending, who gets notified?
Yeah.
Right?
Who has
and then
ownership
who
over it?
starts that chain, right? Who reaches out to auditing and say, great, this is the end date, right? Don't pay them after this, right? Who starts the discussion with legal to say that, great, let's post and get letters of interest, right? Who is really that driving force behind it? I would love to get a landing place for that, so then at least moving forward, we know that we have a project manager is whomever, and we know who is driving this.
I think that-
But we can-
That would help solve some of this problem.
Yeah, it's, because like I say, is when notification comes, we've had it in the past where they had just sent a letter of notification to the office of the commission. Well, by the time it goes through the mail and gets to all of that stuff, we had one of them that they said that we're going to terminate, and it was like, we're terminating Friday, and we got the letter like the following week.
The
And-
positive is,
You know,
this hasn't been a problem in the past, it's just been this year.
it has been. And I think a lot of it's gonna clean itself up as we start exploring what our further options are going to be. As we look at some of the other counties that they have kind of a hybrid, they have contracted people, but they have a separated office that's just, they have attorneys just in, that they're not part of the public defender's office, but they do conflict work. There's some of them that do that it's easy to budget because, you know, it's a standard salary, but it takes a big burden off of, it stabilizes it, and if there's outside work, you can go that way. I mean, there's some other options that way we can look at, and hopefully by in the next 2 or 3 months, we have something that meets all the legal criteria and stops the musical chairs of contracts going through.
That is the two legs of the discussion, right? Cleaning up fiscal year 21, and then really nailing down that process and moving forward of what this looks like.
Okay, let's hold off and see if we can, when Ernie gets done. And if he's not, we'll come back to it before we stand at recess for today. Okay? Adam?
Adam McKinney, 911 Communications Director. This morning I'm just coming to circle back around from a discussion we had 2 weeks ago regarding the Downey Fire District Tower. In that meeting that we discussed that, it was kind of decided we would gift the tower to Downey Fire District. I followed up after getting contacted by the Downey Fire District Chairman asking what the status of that was. Checked with our legal department, and Brian advised me that I should come back before you guys to get a formal decision that we're going to do that. We're ready to do that. The legal department has the ability. We've already gathered the information, but he told me we needed to have a formal decision by the chairman or the committee to decide that we give that to those guys, and then he can start the process to get some paperwork in place that we can transfer ownership of that tower from 911 to the Downey Fire District.
I think it was more so, go back and, I don't think we had the formal on the.
Yeah, it really wasn't a formal, the minutes did
the
state
course of
that
action.
we were going to gift it to them, but it was not decided or voted on or signed or anything like that. And Brian told me that I needed to
okay?
come back and
Gifting it to them?
and do that.
And they want it, right?
They want it,
They
they
want
will
it.
accept it. Yeah, we've got the paperwork, we just needed a formal decision by you.
Do you have
guys
the
to do it.
paperwork with, I didn't see.
I don't. Brian told me to come and get
Well, why
a
don't we
decision
do
from
this
you
then,
guys and-
is, are you okay with gifting that tower off to Downey and as a amount of property?
So, yeah, so we just, Mr. Chair, make a motion that we give the cell tower, the Bannock County 911 cell tower to the Downey Fire District and authorize signature upon.
They can have it for Tuesday.
Perfect.
Presenting the contract.
Thursday.
Or presenting the
Or
thing.
Thursday?
Thursday.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there further discussion or any other motion? All in favor? Aye. There you go.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Scott!
Hello.
Long time no see.
I know, right? Last time I saw Jason, he didn't even have a beard.
That was 3 days ago.
All right. We surviving?
We are
been
doing
up-
better than that.
I haven't driven by in a while up there. The last time I drove by, you guys had just cleaned out the corner, and the corner.
It's
was-
fantastic.
Have you seen the berm up there that you can actually see? It was some good cover and concealment there for a while, but you know. You find any cars or anything back there that people have just left? Or?
There's some things. there's some things. Scott Crowther, business manager and event director. Today there's two things to really their follow-up discussions. One is the gym that we had talked about, the employee gym that we had mentioned before. Last time Commissioner Moser had asked about a legal opinion on that. Since then we've had legal review and then provide us a couple of indemnification waivers that will cover really the two big legal issues. Is one would be if there was an injury to a person, it would make sure that the county was covered. And then the second would be is if there is damage to equipment, since it is personally owned equipment, that the county has no responsibility for that. And so we've had two waivers that have been prepared and sent over to us from legal. So then the last issue really is just the matter of the building space, and if you guys are okay allocating that portion of the building so that we can use it for that purpose.
And we're talking the B building.
It is one of the two offices in the B building. There's a back office. There's two, so it's the southwest corner. They're locking offices. There's two of them. One on the north or the east corner, and one on the west corner. We would take the southwest corner, leave the southeast corner open for business.
I'm okay with the building. Just make sure that the windows and stuff are covered. So,
We will.
I mean, you have equipment that's left there, and if people can look in and see what it is, it's just a tempting target. You know what I mean? Even though I don't know why you'd want to break something to carry off a bunch of heavy weights, but you know, stranger things happen.
People do.
Does this impact the dog trainers?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. So there are some people that rent the facility, that rent the building. What they use each individual room for, I'm not sure. That's not even specified in the contracts, and we've never clarified to say that this footprint has been used for this building. The main big part of the building is still, the main area of the building is still open, but no. And currently, I am unable to find contracts with any of our dog training folks for 2021. It is my understanding that they are working off of 2020 contracts.
The one I sent you, was it?
It is a
2021?
2020.
It was a 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
So they say that they have them, and I've asked for them, but at this point in time, we have no records on our end to show. So the building, from our standpoint, is vacant.
Okay. No, I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. So
Yeah, I'm okay with that then.
Okay.
we'll go forth and just make sure everybody that has waiver signed, all that good fun stuff.
Now we will limit the people initially to employees up at the wellness complex. Eventually, we may look at opening that up to more county employees, but right now we just want to limit the number of people because it is going to be the equipment they provide.
No non-employees,
Yeah.
because that would be a bad booby.
Okay.
Okay.
And we won't start that. We won't do that until after November because we do have a few people that are using it, like the haunted Halloween science laboratory, which may or may not happen depending on the COVID restrictions that ISU places upon their employees.
Okay.
Works for me.
All right. Next.
So the second one is the high school rodeo
Do we need an
conversation.
executive session?
Yeah, just because we're potentially in conflict with another.
I'll move that we enter into executive session under Idaho Code 74-2061E to consider primary negotiations involving matters of trade or commerce which govern the body and is in competition for.
Commissioner Hess?